Welcome to Lord Fussington's walkthrough of the critically acclaimed game Demon's Souls. I'm your walkthrough master, Lord Fussington, and this is part 1 of Valley of Defilement 5-2. And after part 1 will be part 2, and after part 2 will be the Dirty Colossus, who is the boss of Valley of Defilement 5-2, a boss that we shall defeat. He's quite easy, possibly as easy as the Leechmonger, maybe even more so actually. Same sort of weaknesses, fire and all that. But talk more about him when we get there. Right now, we've got to head over to the Archstone, the Valley of the Defilement. There we go. Leechmonger Archstone, done. That's Sage Freck, the Visionary. I'm Lord Fussington, the Lord. And this is going to be a fantastic video, I'm sure, because there's nothing tedious about this area. Nothing bleak, nothing tedious. I already said tedious, but I'll say it again, because I am not redundant. So, head through here to this swampy area. Oh, actually, the whole thing's really a swamp, isn't it? It's like one great swamp. This is like the river. So, maybe wondering what I'm looking for. I'm wondering the same thing. So be careful here, you don't want to jump off unless you're suicidal, or if you want to accumulate black world tendency and you're also in body form. Because you can jump off as many times as you like in soul form, but it won't make a difference. It'll just waste your time, unless you're that sort of person. So you head down here, you know, the sort that wastes. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. So here we have our first depraved one, and he's dead. So that was our first depraved one. Brilliant. Okay, here I'm thinking about. Not quite sure. See that bridge over there? It's actually upright. That's a shortcut basically, but we've got to go all around before we can get there. I sort of divide Valley of Defilement 5-2 into 3 sections. Okay, this is the first section. It would be, because this is where we're starting. The second section is after the first fog gate, and that also has the slugs. And there's a boardwalk that is aligned with the cliff. Okay. And then the third part, that's after the second fog gate, and that is sort of at a settlement, and it's right before the boss. So, you know, it's really divided by fog gate, but, you know, also, this place is much, there's a lot more swamp here than, say, at the settlement, because most of the time you won't be in the swamp in the settlement. Here you will be. Because there are very few islands to avoid the poison of the swamp. To avoid the swamp and the poison, which comes from... Anyway, the point is, bring Royal Lotus. It's quite important, because you will get poisoned. If you have poison resistance, whether it be through rings... Well, that one ring, the poison resistance ring, which only gives you resistance to poison because it is a poison resistance ring. And I've got the black armor set, or whatever it's called, black leather, you know, the assassin thing, whatever. If you have that, that works as well, or the gloom set, which you get off of Yurt. If you haven't killed Yurt yet, well, he's probably killed all of the NPCs in the Nexus, and you know, that's your own fault. You know, you've saved Yurt and you've allowed him to kill everyone. You're a terrible person. So you might want to get on that, if you haven't already. I imagine you have. There's no reason not to have killed Yurt at this point. Unless you just don't know what Yurt does. But if you've been watching my videos, I've mentioned Yurt several times. He's a lovely guy. So these here, the things that I'm killing right now, I looked it up. I don't usually do research in the summer, but I just felt the need to. And they're called poison jellies. Imagine. What a name. Just brilliant. Really, really brilliant. They drop Royal Lotus. And give you very few souls. Also, you're gonna have to walk through the swamp to get the items. I mean, you already saw me get, I think, 2 items, right? So you're gonna have to do that. You don't have to kill everything. I just choose to because I'm a sadist, but you don't have to. In fact, this is a huge waste of time. But when you're pulling the giant depraved ones, it might be a good idea to have a clear area just so that you don't get attacked by another enemy. You always want to separate the enemies. It makes things a bit easier. Legendary Soldier Soul. Really good there. Also, the thing with poison is I like to wait until my health is quite low, because either the poison will like leave my character's system, and I'll be at about half health, or I just take a Royal Lotus when I'm at low health, or actually I just heal myself, because you don't want to waste too many herbs. You don't want to, if you're poisoned and then you take a herb right away and you're still walking in the swamp, you are going to get poisoned a little bit. You're going to get poisoned again, essentially, and then you've just wasted a Royal Lotus for no reason. So, you know, you might want to wait until you're at a lower health, but just be aware of the enemies around you, because you don't want to get attacked by, I don't know, these tentacle, the tentacles of these poison jellies. Maybe they're jellyfish, aren't they? And also, don't roll when you're in the swamp. You will trip. So you can run in the swamp, although you will be much slower. But you definitely don't want to roll, especially when you're fighting an enemy. Chances are you will be hit in the face several times, and that's just embarrassing. See, I just rolled with the bitches in the back, and tripped because of it. Also, if you walk on the dead jellies, I don't know. I always find when I walk on them, I get poisoned more often than not. So, but you know, that just may be coincidental rather than, you know, certain. There may not be a correlation, so you can just disregard it. You can just disregard it. This is a great walkthrough, and I recommend not disregarding anything, because I'm just brilliant. I'm just a brilliant player. Yeah. That's why I died when I fought the old monk and I needed that's why I run with second chance. 'Cause I'm that good. If anyone doesn't know of sarcasm, that is an example of sarcasm. Sarcasm not being a person, like you don't know, anyway, it doesn't matter. Just continue killing the poison jellies and walking through the swamp. Pay attention to your health bar as well as your stamina bar, very important. And heal at advantageous points. See, here I used just a late moon grass, which is arguably the best grass in the game. So my health is back. Chances are the poison will leave my system soon, so, and then I'll just get poisoned again. Then I don't have to really use a lot of Royal Lotus, although then I'm wasting a lot of, you know, just do what you feel is right, because obviously I have no idea what I feel. The reason I'm using the Dragon Bone Smash right now is because I think it's faster. And maybe it is a little bit faster. Also, the reason you do kill the poison jellies, I was saying, you know, it's a bit of a waste of time. You do get Royal Lotus which you may need if you didn't stock up beforehand. And if you didn't stock up beforehand, you're going into a world unprepared, and you don't want to do that, because I do that, and that's the reason I get fucked over a lot of the time. Okay, so there's this island, and then I think the next one's full of depraved ones. Okay, including a giant depraved one. Also, roaming around here is a black phantom that wields a meat cleaver. So you want to be careful. I always get jumped by this meat cleaver black phantom. Arguably because I don't pay attention, but I also think because she has teleportation. Now don't quote me on that, but see, I see an item in the distance, so I go get it. It's probably just Royal Lotus or something useless, but you gotta get all the items, or the treasures, right? Whatever. So, right. So don't quote me on the teleportation thing because it may not be true. It most likely isn't. So that's Widow's Lotus actually. So they also drop that. Widow's Lotus will cure your plague if you get plague. If you get the plague. I don't know if it's the actual plague, like the plague that decimated a good chunk of Europe, or the population in Europe rather. Not Europe itself, obviously, because there's that's more like land. Anyway, so we go over here. Oh, it's actually water because anyway. So this is a war scythe, and that was an excellent segue by yours truly. So the Black Phantom is running around here somewhere. Now the way to deal with Black Phantoms is to stab them in the head. Don't stab them in the legs. Doesn't do as much damage, or maybe it does. You want to stab them in the head. Now, the meat cleaver Black Phantom will penetrate your shield. Okay. Two-handed, she'll do quite a bit of damage to your health bar, or damage to you, which means the health bar will deplete. So. Also, fight her on an island. If you're fighting her in the swamp, you make things a bit difficult for yourself. So make sure you're on an island. So the idea is to just look around. Always be paranoid. There she is. I can see her in the distance. So I immediately run to an island. Any island, doesn't matter. Doesn't even have to be the biggest island. Just an island where I won't be slowed down, right? And that would be any island because you're on ground and not in the swamp, and the swamp slows you down. Anyway, this is all obvious. Now you want to pull her to this island. So you have to have fantastic aim. Boom. Shoulder shot. And by shoulder I mean it was more like the chest area, or as we call the chest. So I'm just slashing away. She isn't that difficult, even though I've built her up to be so. Now watch, two-handed, right? So it takes a great chunk of my stamina and also cuts into my health. So you want to be careful with her because she can kill you, right? She's not one of those, like, I don't think you're gonna die from a depraved one unless you've just left yourself near the depraved ones and went to take a piss or something. But with the meat cleaver Black Phantom, don't underestimate her power, essentially. And a power that's not even that great, but it's a power nonetheless. But you'll be fine. I mean, just make sure you're on an island. Block. Do not, roll out of the way. Although she does have a good reach. But yeah, you do need to block her attacks, because she attacked two-handed, took out half my stamina bar, and about a quarter of my health. So you can imagine how much she'd take off if I wasn't blocking. So yeah, and I think I'm a little bit over leveled right now, so probably not as much as I was before. Also, I haven't really upgraded very much. I think my shield's at maybe +5 or something like that. Anyway, she isn't the most difficult. Probably the most difficult enemy in this entire Valley of Defilement, other than the giant depraved ones, both in normal and Black Phantom form, is Black Phantom Celine Vinland. I call her Celine, even though she doesn't have an E at the end, It might be Selene. I don't really care. Okay, so we're gonna say Selene, or I'll just call her Barry. So Barry is it's Selene. So Selene is probably the most difficult, I find anyway, because she's surrounded by swamp. She has an anti-magic shield. Her weapon, which is blind, I think. Not the weapon doesn't have eyes. It's called blind. I think, and that ignores your shield entirely. So she is probably the most difficult here. I find her the most difficult. So, but then again, I'm also shit. Maybe some people think, whatever, I'll just use. So that's the island where there's the giant. By the way, the Black Phantom. I will fight her in the Pure Black Tendency events video, so you'll get to see that disaster unfold, and which I've already done. I've just got to put a commentary on it and actually finish 5-2 and 5-3 commentary, and then post it, obviously. So I like to separate the enemies here. Usually I try to pull the... Or you can just kill all of the... Well, this is actually a better idea. You should kill all of the depraved ones if you can. And then get on the island and fight the giant depraved one. You don't want to fight the giant depraved one in the swamp, because you're going to need to roll. And he breaks the shield guard pretty easily. So use the barricades to your advantage and get to an island as quickly as possible. Okay, so I don't think I fight this one too well, but the idea here is to just make sure you're out of the range, out of his range, and then you get a couple of slashes in, and then you back up again. Okay, so here I didn't do it too well, but we'll see plenty of giant depraved ones, and I think I'll fight them better later on. Now, he isn't the most difficult. You just have to pay attention to how he swings. So when he swings, you want to be out of his reach, right? And then you go in and you attack about twice. And then he'll swing at you again. Now, if you can get out of his reach, great. Chances are you won't, and you'll have to block it. That's why you only swing about twice, so that you'll have enough stamina to block. And then you back up again, and you force him to attack by being close enough, but just at the edge of his attack, so that you can back up, so he doesn't so you don't have to block and he won't hit you. And then you go in and you attack. So you can just repeat that. And that's, to me, the easiest way to fight him melee. Obviously, if you have magic, it's a joke. You know, homing missiles, he's dead in pretty much 2 sets, I guess, or so. You know, and even if he isn't, you'll be able to block and use a soul ray or whatever else you use, fire spray. Yeah, it's the only reason he's a difficult enemy is because he's got a lot of defense, and he hits hard, but he's very slow, and that's to your advantage, really. Okay, so I'm just cleaning up this area before I go through the fog gate, which means killing the poison jellies, and picking up the treasure. Where the fuck did he come from? That was a great swing. Another one. So they don't do very much damage, but if you're poisoned and you're also getting hit by them, you know, it'll add up. And eventually you probably will die, because they have a pretty good range, actually. And you can't really run in the swamp. You know. which I think is very realistic, because let's be honest, you wouldn't be able to run very fast in this unless you're Jesus. You just run on top of it. But he only, you know what? He only did it once, and it wasn't even a swamp; it was water. So, yeah, fact. So we grab this treasure, and can think. What is that? Did I just put 2 words to get? Oh, brilliant! I'll just stay silent some more. Okay, so here's another treasure. Pure sucker stone, brilliant. You want pure stones, obviously, because that's the last piece to fully upgrading a weapon or shield or whatever. So yeah, you want to accumulate pures whenever you can. And usually there's not that much chance to get them in. Like usually there's just one really, or you're really hoping for a drop, quite a rare one. I mean, pure blade stone is the most difficult stone to get. You've got to kill. Who has the highest drop? I think the highest drop rate for that is the Black Phantom dual katana skeleton in Shrine of Storms 4-2. Alright, so now we're in the second area, so keep that in mind if you're farming for that. That's the best, I think that's the best spot. You just gotta redo that several times, and by several times I mean about 1,000,000. So now we're on this boardwalk, which is the second section, I suppose, of Valley of Defilement 5-2, where we'll encounter the slugs. Also, Celine would be here. I think I do fall off, which, I mean, I was furious about it at the time because I really wanted to stay on the boardwalk, but it's not the end of the world. In fact, you'll only miss out on one item, which I think is a Talisman of God, and if you don't have about 4 of them or 3 of them, well, I don't know what to tell you, really, other than Nintendo are still making games. They're still making games, and there's some good Mario games to buy and stuff, and yeah. So anyway, kill the mosquitoes. They also drop some chunks of stone if you can. We'll get them, of course, if you're lucky enough. And you have to go in the swamp anyway. It's just the best way is to go by the boardwalk, grab that item. We'll kill everything on top, then grab the item, and then go back around. Like this, it's just I miss out on one item, which I'll probably get later. I think I actually get it in one of the world tendency videos. But anyway, so this is where Celine. I think Celine's usually here. She'll only appear like NPC, like normal versus body form, right? She appears white world tendency. I don't know if it's pure, because I go when it's pure white world tendency, so she'll be there regardless. So yeah, I show up and have a chat with her. She's looking for the crest of Vinland, which you can get from her brother, who's protecting her brother being Garl, who's protecting Maiden Astria, the final boss of Valley of Defilement, and the final boss and the boss of 5-3, of course. So Dark Moon grass, very rare grass. Some people say it's the best grass in the game. I say that they're incorrect, because the fact that Dark Moon grass is quite rare, it can't possibly be the best. Certainly it has the best quality. Anyway, I've gone through this. I've written it somewhere. It's basically an essay on the merits of grass. There's one grass that's better than all the other ones have, and now obviously it's late moon grass. That's the best, not half. That's just absurd. Okay, so over here Now the reason I'm firing arrows into the distance, seemingly at nothing, is I know that there's something there, other than treasure and an island. There are several giant depraved ones around this island here, and they're protecting 3 stones of ephemeral eyes, I think. Also, they are a good source of stones of ephemeral eyes as well. You have a higher chance of getting a higher chance of there being a drop when they're in a black phantom form, but they can drop when they're not black phantoms, and just like this. Okay, so this is, again, you want to pull one at a time. You don't want to rush the island, you know, and swing brainlessly, or do like firestorm or something absurd. You're just going to get killed. So you want to pull one at a time, and it's the same strategy as before, except you got to be a little bit more careful. See how I went towards him? That was a bad idea. Okay. So you always want to back up with these guys, basically. So always keep your distance, and then you lure him into having to attack. So you got a little bit closer. Well, now I'm just healing. So I should walk forward, and then he'll swing at me, and then I'll back up. There you go, and that gives me an opening to attack. Now, only like 2 slashes, so that I can block the next attack and not lose all my stamina. So again, you lure him into making the attack, and then boom. It's that simple, really. And if you put a lot of arrows into him, he'll, you know, it's even easier, obviously. You just want to be careful here, because you are going to be poisoned most of the time, and you'll be at a, you know, lower health. So it's best to always just back up. Again, if you have homing soul marrow, if you have homing soul marrow, which is, I mean, it's really good, but not a lot of people have it. If you have homing soul arrow, you know, it's even easier. Just I still recommend bringing a shield, but not even that much. So again, you can see how I'm dealing with him, and here, see, I have enough stamina. Also, when I'm backing up, my shield isn't up. Like, I put it up at the last second, because I've got to, if you have your shield up, it'll take longer for your stamina to come back, and you obviously know that, but I'm saying it anyway. So you want to put your shield, you want to just hold it on your side rather than in front of you, and then your stamina will return faster. So there should be one more. I think he's in the, like, a little bit on the left side. Maybe there's 2 more, actually, I don't know. So I can see one in the distance there. It looks like there's 2 more. Okay. Right into kidney. So same strategy applies. If you can't, you know, get out of his reach, then just block it. So every time he hits, if I can't get out of his reach, I just block. And then I also make sure that you're sort of, when he does that swing, right, the horizontal one, it's very difficult to dodge, right? If he does the vertical swing, if you can time it right, you can usually get a little bit on his left, and it might miss you entirely, giving you some free shots in, you know, but you've got to already be walking in that direction. Still, backing up is the best. So I got a bit greedy there. You don't want to get greedy. So now I'm, so gotta get some full moon grass. That's an R2. So, yeah. And now he wants to come along. I don't want him. So now it's just 1 left, and we have an island, which makes it a little bit easier. So see how I moved a little bit to the left as well? And he missed me, and he probably would have hit me actually if I was directly under a shot. So just enough. So now I want to really back up. So that's it really. That's it for this little island here. And a couple of stones of ephemeral eyes. And now we're gonna head over to another island where there is a slug. And these slugs are called slugs. Phosphorescent slugs. So that's just exciting. That's just an exciting fact. Almost like that Jesus fact that I said not too long ago. And so we're looking for a slug now. He's on that little island there, and he's the only one there, so he's not really anything to worry about. The slugs are not the most difficult enemy in the game. I reserve that to the prisoners behind the cells, the cell doors, right? But you know, the slugs can be quite vicious actually. They're probably the most vicious slugs I've ever seen, and they're giants for slugs anyway. You know, these types of slugs do exist. Yeah. So fact. I'm saying a lot of facts today. All of these are true. So that's about it for this video. The next video is entitled, it's the same thing, Part 2 of Valley of Defilement 5-2. Because this is Part 1, so Part 2 must follow. Unless, of course, I was going straight to the boss. That would still be... Anyway, thanks for watching.